Right, mic's working, mic's working, mic's working. I'm about to share. Good. Yeah, you sound good. Working. Yeah, sounds working now, man. That's from the last chat, I think, wasn't it? Hey, girl. Lily. Let me know in the comments if it's all right now. All good, Matt. Yeah, thank you. Right, let's go.
Many times before, and in other venues and platforms in the past, based largely on the excellent work that was done by OSAP, the Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program.
So this man's going to be testifying at Congress. If anybody deserves a right to sit down in front of Congress and tell him what he thinks is fucking going on and potentially give some credible information, this man will have it. And for people saying he doesn't know anything, he has sat down with people that have the ability to touch these crafts, potentially have been in these crafts, touch these aliens, anything you can think of, this man has been in connection with. Whatever badges you need to get into a certain building, he has sat down and spoken to those people. And he's probably willing to take things to his grave, or is he about to blow the entire lid off that and speak about potentially what Bob Lazar's told him as well, and that the fact that if Bob Lazar was to die, he would go and dig up the element 115, which he said in his documentary. I think this man's very credible and very worthy of going to Congress. So don't let anybody else tell you anything different. There's probably people on X that know absolutely fuck all about the topic and just like arguing against each other. They don't have any time to do any research. They just look for the latest news and argue about that. They have no research on them at all. They just look for the latest news to get clicks, and that's it. The twats.
Which was hosted by the DEA. It's the largest acknowledged UAP-related investigation ever funded by the U.S.
Let's drop some love in the
comments.
comments for George.
Ones, but they haven't admitted to those. OSAP is the biggest that we know of, and most of that work was done for the DIA. A lot of it was done by an organization called BASS, a company based here in Las Vegas. And we have talked to two of the principal program managers, Dr. Jim Lukatsky, Dr. Colin Kelleher in the past, and they've shared some of that information with us. But most of the work that was done by OSAP for the DIA has never seen light of day. It's still bottled up somewhere. There have been leaks or two here and there. And Jeremy, you and I both helped release some of these DIRDs, these Defense Intelligence reference documents that were meant to be distributed, at least within the JWICs and intelligence community. But the public had never seen them until we made them public. But one of the focuses of that study, the OSAP program, was health effects of UAP, UFOs on humans, correct?
Yeah, and it was really interesting when the DIA report was finally put out to the public and everybody's looking at it and they're seeing that close proximity to UAP causes all of these electromagnetic effects, radiation effects. I think it really hit home. People were most interested in that. What is that causes all of those injuries that have...
personally believe aliens exist. George Knapp doesn't believe aliens exist. Where have you heard that?
Been well documented, and being that it was a DIA document and then released to the public, it really captured the imagination of the public. Also, this new report that was done, it also touches on the 2021 ODNI report confirming UAP as physical object posing aviation risk. So what was cool was that this new report really pulled from all the literature and information that was out there and historical context and brought it into focus about, these kind of negative health effects caused by close proximity to UAP. And if we can't get people's attention on UAP because of stigma, certainly we can get their attention on the documented negative biological effects of close proximity.
So I'm going to go through that, Kyle. Really so we've got. I thought it was really let me pause it a second. Then, so we've got this man, Jeff Nucatella, and no, I have no idea who he is. We've got Chief Alexander. I know about him. I watched his interview on George Knapp's Weaponized, and we've got Dylan Boland. Again, I don't know anything about him. Don't know what he looks like or anything. The only thing I can tell you about Dylan is Dylan Boland, witness for next hearing, worked for almost 3 years for the Air Force at Geospatial Intelligence Analyst, almost 4 years for BAE Systems Aerospace Company as an intelligence analyst and almost 6 years for Interpid Solutions and Services LLC. Yeah, I don't know much about him, I'll be honest with you. This guy had an experience on a ship, if I remember right. I think he's US Navy, I think he is, which we'll go through. And that's this man here. So it says here, I'm an Air Force veteran and entrepreneur who loves to have fun, jump in ice cold water and go on adventures. Okay. And this is his YouTube channel. And massive mystery cubes invade Vandenberg. So he's connected to the Vandenberg incident, I think. So we'll click on that and play that in a minute. So let's play with this because George Knapp's testifying. And this was yesterday's, and I think this is a clue. This is the last episode before Weaponized. Probably the biggest clue what we might get in next Tuesday's hearing.
That an outside group went and
Weaponized comes out on a Tuesday, doesn't it? So it's like,
did this.
Yeah, and obviously these injuries, both physical, psychological, physiological, that are measurable, documented by medical professionals, they're not caused by clouds or weather balloons or swamp gas or planets or any other.
I am going to keep interrupting because we're not here just to watch Weaponized, right? We're here to have a chat and a discussion and get people involved. It's an engagement channel. It's just a live. That's what it is. People's opinions. How many people are actually happy that George Knapp's testifying? I am. I'm 27 years researcher. I'm happy that George Knapp's testifying. A lot of this stuff that we speak about now would not be possible if it wasn't for him and what he did many decades ago, reaching out to people and bringing this to the forefront and bringing it to the TV. This was a taboo thing, 100%. And I think if you said to me, if you could name a journalist in the UFO topic that you would like to go to Congress, there's only one name. There's only one name, and it's him. It's not Ross. It's not Jeremy. It's George Knapp. 100% it's George Knapp because he's spoken to people for so long, and a lot of these people are dead. Wendell Stevens, dead. John Lear, dead. Robert Dean, dead. Bill Cooper, dead. He spoke to all these people. They're all dead. He could have something right up his sleeve. He's spoken to Bob Lazar. He knows where the element 115 is. It's buried next to a tree somewhere. He knows this information. Nobody else knows this information. He knows this. And why do people think he's not a good person to put in Congress? You want Lou Elizondo there? No. I reckon we'll get more on Tuesday from this journalist than we have had for any other someone that's got first-hand knowledge, that's actually touched craft, apparently. That's, all these people that make fantastic stories up on these podcasts, but when they get into a hearing, they freeze and they know absolutely jack shit.
Explanations that we get for UAP, they're caused by physical effects generated by some kind of a craft. And the guy who put this all together, that founded this organization, is named John Priestland. He's our guest.
He did spearhead it all, you're right. Give me one example of anybody that tried to release. I'll give you a couple of names, but even they come after Bill Moore. But he was sort of a disinformation as well at one point, and he got thinking. George Knapp's the only one. Now George Knapp's been fed a lot of bullshit as well. Let's not, and he'll tell you that he doesn't believe everything. I've spoken to him myself, by the way, over Instagram and sent him things, and he's been dismissive of some of it, and he's been like, "Oh, that's a peek behind the curtain," and things like the Wilson memos. So he doesn't buy everything. And he does seem to speak about these injuries to human beings, like it's some sinister things going on. And that's the conclusion I've come to, and many other people. There's something sinister going on. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out more about what's going on with these children and stuff like that. Who knows? When you've got Nancy Mace running out of Congress, out of a hearing, crying her eyes out because of the Epstein victims and what she said, they can only imagine. And they said, what did Luna say? There's a lot of billionaires. Famous rich billionaires that need to go to jail for a long time. And that was yesterday.
Today, he's a physicist and management consultant. Began his career as a civil servant working for a UK cabinet office before moving into senior roles in engineering consultancy. He's a fellow of both the Institute of Physics and the Institution of Civil Engineers. In 2023, he created the Unhidden Foundation to promote better care for people affected by UAP, with a particular focus on mental and physical health. And
so I don't know if you caught up because of my chatting and stuff like that, but he's speaking about injuries and stuff like that to human beings and things they've set up to help these people and stuff like that. Maybe we're going to get this. This is what we're going to get spoken about. And then we're going to get people coming out, speaking about their injuries and what's causing.
John Priestland joins us now.
All you wanted was to add a column while planning your next sprint. Maybe it's time to move to Monday Dev. Here are 5 Monday...
Hey, John.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Jeremy, you want to start it off?
Yeah, look, I was just fascinated in little
Definitely a British accent. It's from England, isn't it?
circles. This paper got out a few days early, or at least a couple days early, and I received it and I was reading through it, and I could see a lot of primary sourcing coming from the DIA document that was released, but also just the way you thought about it was very unique, and you brought in a few other things that were not kind of correlated into this topic. So I just wanted to know, kind of first off, is, why did you start this process, this organization, and how did you come about? Is this the first thing you've put out as an organization?
So our focus last year was on mental health and well-being.
I will never
so we put out
shush,
a
sir.
report entitled "The Impact of Exceptional Experiences."
Has someone told you to? Is someone bullying someone here? Heading over to come from TikTok anyway. Come over to YouTube. We need to get the likes, the engagement going on YouTube, so we can carry on doing more lives on YouTube.
On mental health and well-being, focusing
Yo,
on
he shows me they watch you all. Yo, he shows me they watch you all. We are multidimensional. Gary Nolan has studied the injuries. Hey DJ. James Lukatsky is number one on my list. Yeah, James Lukatsky.
stigma,
Yeah.
focusing
Again,
on the fact that people
he's the one that spoke about going inside a UFO, was it right? He said not long ago he went inside a UFO. That's the man that said that.
are frightened to go to their doctors and tell them what they've seen, which I think is a terrible thing. And this year we focused on
1 minute. I watched this last night and I'm like, oh my God, they watch us. What? So hold on a minute. I've not seen all this. What were you saying in this? They say they've been watching us. Who watches us? TikTok here. Welcome in, Louise. Thank you for coming over from TikTok. Thank you for being one of the normal ones that follows me over here from TikTok. Oh, this is so interesting. It is interesting. This is why I do it. There was a whole paper on injuries to humans. This is actually huge. Melissa, what did he say last night on this? Who's watching us? Did he go into who's watching us? TikTokers, I'm live on YouTube, UFOs around the world. Head on over there and you can watch the videos of us that we're going through right now with the latest news on the UFO whistleblowers, the 4 whistleblowers, and I'm a bit excited because we've got George Knapp that has been named as a whistleblower for next Tuesday's hearing. It's at 3 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. That will mean that on Tuesday I will be live and I will be streaming it on TikTok and on YouTube. If I can't stream it on TikTok, it will just be YouTube only, so please make sure you follow my YouTube account so we can get it streamed. I'll be on an hour early so we can have a discussion, maybe get a few people up hopefully and start chatting. Over from TikTok. Welcome over, Carl Ladd. Amanda, hey, thought I'd come over from YouTube. How is everyone? Welcome over, Amanda. Yes, Lukatsky would be interesting to hear from. Is he Kyle? Is he Kyle? Gary Nolan is now a shill. Yes, that was James. He's a former head of DIA. Can't say on here, hon. What do you mean you can't say on here? Let me have a listen.
the second pillar of the health triple, if you like, for UAPs, which is physical health, and that came out last Monday. And the third pillar will be public health.
Yeah, Melissa, just say
it. The health of populations at scale, and particularly how we can build more resilience around possible disclosure, where arguably millions, if not hundreds of millions of people may be affected, and we'll need to prepare for that, perhaps like a pandemic, and certainly to be prepared is a good thing, and that's where public health comes in. So mental health, physical health, and public health. And the organisation Unhidden is trying to bring a robust medical and clinical approach to the...
How can I add people, if I wanted to add a guest on YouTube, how can I add him to Stream Elements and OBS? How could I do that? So then we could start having people up on here. I would like to do that.
The UAP topic. So we have a medical advisory board.
Talk to us.
Made up of some really very eminent practicing clinical medical professionals. We have a neurophysiologist and a psychiatrist, a pathologist. We have 2 general practitioners, which is the everyday medicine in the UK.
Welcome in, Doris. Welcome in, Kyle. Thank you again for being members, by the way. I appreciate that. I was working on my merchandise today.
And we have two
probably got a few more days before I can launch it.
Including the head of a major European psychology department at a university. And so they've taken the editorial decisions on our health effects report. I put the information together along with a number of other people very well connected. And our methodology has been developed in conjunction with somebody you know well, Dr. Tim Lomas.
Boss, for 200 pounds, give me a sock.
Someone tell me how I can get a guest up on I'd love to test it tonight on this live and get someone up.
200 pounds? Have you used all the tools in this truck?
Hey, I only need one set.
You don't.
Tim is wonderful in the way he weaves his different breadcrumbs together into papers like Cryptoterrestrials. And he helped us create a particular methodology for what this is. This is a literature review. It's not primary research. He calls it curated emergence, which is a lovely phrase. And effectively it means, unlike a traditional literature review where you give much, much more weight to peer-reviewed academic sources, in this case you cast the net wider because of the nature of the topic. And that's very clear in the methodology. It also shows the challenges and weakness of the report. And we argue that we need more research from civilians, but also potentially more research from the military and intelligence side of the wire, doctors on the other side of that, brought into the civilian.
And totally tried to run. And I grabbed him and held on to him and pushed him back in the car. He walked to the front of the car, and I thought he was going to get burned up. If I hadn't had cousins with me, I'd probably walk with her. We've got pictures where I had bed spots all over me, and I was in the bed for 2 weeks. I was just sick. My hands sealed off completely.
Typical USA woman, this. The accent, everything. If you want to do an advertisement on what it's like in the United States and the type of women in the United States and how they talk, this is it.
Right, my single pants, the whole thing peeled off, just in little pieces, the insides of my neck. And he kept asking us what it was, and he jerked my head around, and he said, Mama, what is it? And I said, baby, I don't know. I think we were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was something I believe that the government was escorting or something that got into a whole bunch of trouble. I mean, they're supposed to protect the people. But it's a shame that a handful of government officials in Washington, D.C. can do anything they want and get by with it. Even commit murder and never be punished. But now they're a handful of officials in Washington, D.C. They think they can do anything. And their slate's wide clean. They don't have to answer or be responsible for nobody, not even for themselves.
I don't know their direct origin, but it was given to me by Lear, and she's talking about the burns and talking about the hair falling out and all of these things. Out of all the cases you looked at for your report, is there any that really sticks out to you, and why?
Well, I think that one is particularly concerning because, as you say, the child was involved, and it's just such a common everyday occurrence, people driving across the country, and then whatever the cause was, it absolutely devastates their lives. I suppose I have a particular soft spot for Rendlesham and
He
John
looks
Burrows,
absolutely knackered, doesn't he, George Knapp?
Case.
Like I said, this could be the end of George Knapp. Like if he goes there and it absolutely backfires in his face, or he could lose a lot of credibility. I don't think he will. I think he's destined to do this, and I think he wants to do this. I'm surprised Jeremy's not offered. Maybe he has offered to back him up and go there himself as well. Could he be a whistleblower? The burns and their hair falling out sounds very like radiation. You're right, yeah, it does. On your end, use OBS Studio, vMix or StreamYard to pipe in Zoom or Google Meet. I don't know how to do it. I really don't. I'm new to it. Like, as you can see, each time I'm getting better and better, and I'm getting able to work things out. But I've got no one like helping me and guiding me. And like, I'd love to have like we do on TikTok, get some people up here, start having discussions, but watching videos as well while we do it. I think that'll be better. We can't do that on TikTok because they keep smacking my ass saying I'm a naughty boy and stuff like that. I've already got a restriction on it, so let's not stay there. Then let's go somewhere else. Let's take our conversation to YouTube. I'll pack up my followers and leave. That's what I'll do. Yo, Dale. TikTokers coming over to YouTube. Familiarise yourself with YouTube, because I will be sorting it out, and we will be getting, like you do on here, as guests. I'll be getting you up on here as guests. I'll do it, even if I have to get like a separate Zoom thing and then stream the Zoom thing through the screen like this. That might be a way to do it. I'll do it that way. I don't care how I do it. I'll work something out. I'll think outside the box to do it. Yeah, that sound good. Matt will be a co-streamer. Yeah, get people on. Why not? How many people have been able to do that on YouTube? Or just do it on. You don't see many people doing it. You see co-streamers, but you don't see actual guests and stuff. Yeah, I want to do it that way. I think there was a way around it, but you'd have to a lot of messing about, and I'm willing to do it. How do you connect with your guests? So I could create a live on TikTok separately, and then I could stream my live onto this screen, and I could still talk to you because my screen would still be on my phone. So that's an option as well. Kyle, we'll speak later. Or tomorrow when I finish work, we'll sort out how we can do it. I'll do some research and send me all the information on how to do it. Because I'd like to have some guests up for next Tuesday. So if we can sort it out for next Tuesday, we can go early, go an hour early before the live stream, have a little discussion, play the hearing and discuss as the hearing's going on what we're hearing. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it compelling? Is it bullshit? You know, is it a nothing burger? Is it a big fat juicy burger? Or a Zoom better connection, etc. No dings. So what you're suggesting is we Zoom it, and then can you do that live though? Connect it live to YouTube. I'm not sure. Or do we do it through Stream Elements? I'll look into it for you, but yeah, look under it under Studio, OBS Studio and Streamlabs, because I like Streamlabs because it's pretty simple, and I can do my overlays and stuff like that. Like I've got my scene set up here, which I'm not going to screening. This is the other screen that I've been using, which is just me when I introduce things. And I thought the background was alright. I thought the background's quite chill. Do you have Stream? I do have StreamYard, yeah. Is that you can't get as good setup like this though, can you, on StreamYard? Yes. What's that to, Phoenix? The hearing is 3 p.m. next Tuesday, UK time. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Pacific time. Do me heading like you guys say. Instructions in your email. I've just got your email. I'll go through that later. What I might do is I might just do like a test live at some point. And might just do it with you, Kyle, or something, and we'll test it out. Maybe get Melissa in, get the members in, whatever, get a few people. That's another thing. I'd like to get my members up, have a chat with them. There's loads of things I need to learn. But you need to help me. If you want me to be big, then you need to help me. I can't do it on myself. Remember, I do work full time as well, so I'm not like a grifter. I just like talking about UFOs.
And we get the commentary over here that, hey, if UAPs were real, they wouldn't all be in America, Some of that absolute nonsense. And so where we point to cases like Rendlesham, that's very good. And I think John Burrows has been such a stalwart campaigning.
Yeah, imagine that. I hope he turns up with something about it. He's like, hello, everybody, this is Element 115. That'd be good.
For better care and support for veterans and others affected.
What the heck was going on out there that would draw this much attention from the agencies involved to this day? What would still be classified, and if it is, what did we have or what were we dealing with that would still remain silent today? Almost every weapon we've ever developed back in that time frame has been exposed that we're aware of, and yet today this is still classified and we can't even receive medical treatment for it.
And he wrote a very persuasive article about 2 months ago in the Roswell Daily News about the importance of this topic. So I think
I don't even know who this guy is. He's British.
Out,
I need to reach out to him.
With some of the research that was done in the UK.
I've missed this guy's name. Can someone tell me what this guy's called?
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded with 20 hand-picked products that are trending.
One of the great parts about this report is it starts off with a bang with the Jacques Vallée reviewing the literature, the work that he has done. I mean, he was an instrumental, a key figure in that whole OSAP program. And I think it's his part that notes how people are reluctant to report these injuries. There's no way really to estimate how many other people out there have had them because they're embarrassed to report it. Or when they do report it, they don't describe the actual circumstances, right?
Absolutely. So Jack wrote the foreword. He's an ambassador to Unhidden, and he spent quite a lot of time with our medical advisory board because he's had so many first-hand experiences, not of the craft or the objects themselves, but first-hand interviews with people who've had those experiences. And he writes, as you say in the foreword, he says, "Witnesses have sometimes told me that they did not dare tell doctors what had happened to them, so they made up a story to account for their complaint." And that also echoes the account of somebody else we feature in the report, a man called Paul Sinclair. Paul is an experiencer based in Yorkshire. He's the author of a book called Night People, which is very moving. And he talks about an evening in 1997 and the morning after where he...
Let's click on this one here.
Explain to me.
From Las Vegas. You're at Vandenberg for how
So this is one of the whistleblowers here. Jeff Nucatelli.
long, and while you're there as a military police officer, you're not investigating UFOs, you're doing your job, right?
Right, yeah, right.
How long were you there at Vandenberg?
I got there in 1999. I left Vandenberg in 2006. So about 7 years.
As we're going to hear today, there were multiple incidents that you're aware of.
Make sure you click the notification bell on my YouTube, please, because you're not going to want to miss it next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Even if you're in work, right, just go to the toilet. Say you've got bellyache, sit on the toilet for an hour and watch my YouTube live on that, right? Could be something compelling on it. You just got to do everything you can to get out of work. This is more important than whatever job you're doing. Yeah? Just leave it. Just go to the toilet and chill for an hour. Say you got bellyache. Or even better, just get suspended for the day.
Absolutely, yeah. Most of them are not public yet.
A day to get YouTube Premium. When I get to 10,000 followers, I will get YouTube Premium. I'm at 6,500 followers, so get me to YouTube Premium.
You testified to Congress, or you briefed them in 2023. Tell us a little bit about that, how that went.
Yeah, so it all started, over the years, I had sort of my own X-file. What I would do when these events would happen, I would go up to our command center and I would print out the paperwork, and I kept all of that. So I had this X-file full of these strange events. Over the years, I just didn't know what to do with it. I thought about contacting journalists and things, but I didn't want to put it out to the news. And then
it costs you money to stream on YouTube, right? It kind of does, yeah. It's not like free. You've got to pay for memberships for certain things, like to make my thumbnails I have to pay for that, to keep the app going, otherwise you can't do certain things with it. For certain things you have to, it's not free, yeah, you're right.
Them do the X-Files music and just it be a blip. I wanted to do something important with it. So eventually I found Ryan Graves in the Merged podcast, and I thought, well, here's the guy. This is the guy. He's an experiencer himself. It's credible. So I reached out to Ryan.
You've seen my kids and that, right? they're absolute little lunatics. I've posted videos of them dancing and whatever and stuff like that. And that's why I do this, to get away from them.
Him and his colleague Brad Crispin got right back to me. We talked. I sent them my 214 and some other performance reports to show I was at Vandenberg and my role there. And then things happened very quickly. He put me into contact with some lawmakers, Congress, senators, and their staffers.
Didn't you get a load of new Trump followers from me? Like, I got 412 people from yesterday's live. Yeah, I did.
And I ended up doing like a mass briefing.
MAGA, baby.
And I told them about the event. I shared the details of the case. I let them know that I had actual documentation, Air Force official records of the event.
That was on TikTok, though. I've got 250,000 on TikTok. That's not 250,000 on YouTube, is it? I'm only a baby on YouTube.
And that really started things rolling.
If you want to build an app and have no idea how to code or where to start, check out Base.
Jeremy, take us into the Red Square.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's awesome the service that Ryan is providing to allow people like you to come forward and to amplify your voice and bring you into the halls of Congress. That is so essential. And I'm just grateful to Ryan for kind of having that capability to bring someone like you in. Yeah, let's start with the Red Square, the Red Cube. 2003, Vandenberg Air Force Base. I mean, just paint a picture for us. Tell us, take us through the event. This was mentioned in Congress, and this is something you've provided evidence and proof for because of your own work. Tell us what happened.
So, yeah, it started out a normal day. I was the senior patrolman on Bravo flight. Flights are like platoons in the Army. We have flights, so we usually have 60 to 80 or more people on each flight. I was in a leadership position as the senior law enforcement sergeant. So I came into work about an hour early to do changeover with the offgoing leadership. That was Delta flight. So when I pulled into to work, I noticed there was a crowd of people around the smoke pit. And when I pulled up, they all started to point at me. And they're like, "Oh, there's Jeff." And I could tell they had...
Yeah, if you see a background where like green screen the background, it's because I'm sat on the toilet. Like making breaking news videos. Breaking news. George Knapp is going to be at the UAP.
Something cool to tell me, which was not unusual. We were pretty active base. They're like, "Oh, there's wild Jeff." Things that would happen from time to time.
Yeah,
so
if you see a background
I walked over
where,
and
like,
all
green
at
screen
once
the
they
background.
all started to tell me that at 08:45 that morning, we had a real world UFO event at Launch Facility 21. On the north end of the base. And at first, I'm like, are you guys pulling a prank or doing whatever? But very quickly, I realized that this was real. So I walked over to the command center and met with the offgoing leadership, their flight chief and their senior patrolman, my counterpart. And they gave me a briefing. And they had actually responded to the event. So I got, direct from the horse's mouth.
I'm not going to change. I'm going to be the same me. From the first time I had 1 follower to if one day I hit 10 billion followers, I'm still going to be the same idiot.
Wow. And
that just has a lot of knowledge on the UFO subject, but my humor's on point.
What happened was 3 Boeing contractors were working on a national missile defense.
I think I fell out with someone yesterday. I was on Mystical's live. And I told her to check out Meat Spin for a laugh. And she played it on live and I couldn't stop laughing. And I think she fell out with me a little bit over it and stuff. So if you speak to Mystical to say Matt does apologise to you and stuff like that. And just tell her that I do have a sense of humour.
This was a new initiative under the Bush administration to put in together like a Star Wars program to protect us from, ballistic missiles. And these contractors were working on site. One of them walked outside and noticed there was this gigantic red glowing square shaped object hovering at low altitude over the launch pad. And this guy just is like, oh my God, what is going on? He watches it for a few minutes. He goes in, picks up the landline and calls 2 of his coworkers. They all come out.
Mystical's in the live, but she's not called Mystical in the live. I won't embarrass her, but yeah. I do apologise. Don't fall out with me. I know nothing that was said yesterday has not affected anything. Don't worry.
observe this thing for some period of time, and then they do what they're supposed to do. They picked up the phone. They called range control, which is like a command center that oversees all the various launch facilities. They reported it. They described the object. And then the controller at range control called around to the various other agencies on base. They called the weather station. They called the tower of the flight line and everybody else to find out if we had anything in the air. And the results were negative. We had no aircraft. We had no weather balloons. There was nothing on radar. So they had no idea what this object was. And at some point during that time frame, the object just slowly floated further onto the installation, and they lost visual as it went over some hills. So it came onto the base. Absolutely no noise, no signs of propulsion. So this was like completely anomalous. So after making those notifications, the controller notified the law enforcement desk and asked us if we knew anything about the object and requested that we responded. We sent an armed patrol out. So that initiated my friends getting involved.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do.
And they drove out to the site. It's probably a 15 or 20 minute drive from our command center to that location. It's out located right on the coast.
Yeah, you've got to have a laugh. I did take it a bit too far, I think, yesterday, but I didn't think it'd work.
My friends didn't.
If anybody wants to see something entering and then something spinning around, like out of this world spinning around, go on meetspin.com.
See anything on the way out. They met with the contractors. They got the whole story, and they took sworn written statements from each of the three contractors describing what they saw. They returned back. They typed up a report. They put it in the blotter, which is a chronological record of everything that happens on the base. It's a police record. And they made notifications through our chain of command. So they notified our commander, our operations officer, and on, including the wing command post. And it was up-channeled all the way to the top as far as I know. And as they were telling me the story, I was copying all the paperwork, and that's pretty much what happened that afternoon.
How gigantic, and was it picked up on radar or only seen visually?
As far as I know, according to the doc.
I hope he's like this at Congress. They're here, giving it, like smacking people and stuff like that. Please, George, don't let me down. I speak highly of you. Just please do it.
Documentation I have, there was
Get
nothing.
15 minutes of fame.
And I have that data is captured in the blotter and also in the witness statement I have. I have the witness statement from the individual that worked at range control that received the complaint and made all the notifications. So I have his written statement. So no radar tracks, no idea what it was. And the object was at least 100 yards wide or whatever. Yeah.
I would think something like that, gigantic red glowing square over Vandenberg that goes over the base, would freak people the hell out. There would be alarm bells going off.
It did. I mean, some people were shocked. Some people were in disbelief. Other people were like me, where I was excited beyond, like I couldn't believe it was really happening. Yeah.
I mean, you'd imagine people wouldn't want to report this. They're contractors out at this military installation. You're dealing with, the idea of intercontinental ballistic missiles and defense, and they have to report a football-sized stadium cube that's hovering over the base. I mean, this is an astounding account, because I'm sure they didn't want to have to report this.
Yeah,
Not like that.
Sure they did. I mean, these guys are probably engineers or something with top secret clearances. They're working on the National Missile Defense Project at that time.
Imagine he walked in with Bob.
Executive branch's top priority for the military.
Kick the doors open like Reservoir Dogs. Bob Lazar. Who else would be like? Who else would make jaws drop if they walked in? Bob Lazar would definitely make jaws drop. Like, I think George Knapp as well. I think George Knapp knows a lot more than people think. Who else would be a compelling witness? Jay Stratton, but I think Jay Stratton's some sort of plant as well. I'm not a massive Jay Stratton fan. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, Jay Stratton knows everything. I'm not a little bum boy for Jay Stratton. Not at all. Far from it. I'd rather someone like UAP Gerb go in there and stuff than something. I just don't trust something about Jay Stratton. Definitely don't trust Lou. No, Bob. It'd just be Bob Lazar, wouldn't it? That'd make people's jaws drop.
And we were doing launches from Vandenberg that I was involved in, like guarding the launches that were deemed the most important space launches in 25 years. So this was...
Lucy, get out of the room! What are you doing?
Dun, dun, dun.
The practice you are about to learn is almost never described publicly.
Taken extremely seriously, yeah.
This is 2003. It's a year before the famous Tic Tac case. At the time, were you up on UFO history of
Yeah, Matthew Brown. That'd be another one as well, I think, yeah.
Vandenberg, the kinds of things that happened to Bob Jacobs and Mistral launches decades earlier?
Yeah, I was aware of that case. I used to listen to like Coast to Coast AM radio and things like that. So, because you're working all night and there's nothing. So I would listen to that. And a lot of people in the military did. I knew a little bit about that. But I hadn't seen anything at Vandenberg up until that day in October. Yeah.
And you brought, I'm sure you put this public already. This is you call it the blotter, right? The Security Forces blotter. People can see this, right? They can see the account as recorded.
Yeah, it's actually not like publicly available anywhere. I've shared it with Congress and Aero and the FBI. And
can we put it out for this episode? Make sure people see it.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. I would like people.
Witness 1, Witness 2, Witness 3, summary, vehicle, 1998 Ford Taurus. I'll have to do a video on this. I'll do a separate video on this and upload it on before the hearing of all the major stories of the whistleblowers that are testifying.
I want the public to be aware this is happening.
That's better. Witness 1, Witness 2, Witness 3. There's got to be a redacted version of that somewhere. I'll have to find that.
And it's real. So, yeah.
So it turns out the gigantic red square is not the only gigantic square. There was another one.
Yeah. So we came on duty that evening, and me and some of my friends were like, in quite a state, like excited. So I was going out UFO hunting that night. So I went up to the armory. I got some NVGs. I got a portable thermal imager, some binocs, and me and my buddies went out hunting UFOs. So I was out some period. We think this happened around midnight. I had been out on the coast, watching the skies for a while, and I had this moment of kind of clarity where I'm like, oh my God, I'm out here alone. And if this thing shows up, I don't know what's going to happen. So I got freaked out, and I drove back to the command center, and I got there, and I took off my...
Yeah, this is one of them. This is Jeffrey Nucatelli. And then we've got Chief Alexandro Wiggins, Chief Alexander Wiggins, and we've got Dylan Borland. I don't know anything about Dylan Borland. I have heard his story, and I've never heard this guy's story. I must have missed this episode.
My gun belt, and I was chilling out on the command center with my buddies, and we were talking about all of it. And then a radio transmission came in from Space Launch Facility 4, and that's located on the opposite end of the base, down on the south end. And that is...
So what it looks like is, it looks like George Knapp is going to be a whistleblower, and the three people that are going up are people that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have interviewed And I think this is why Jeremy said, if they don't say what they're going to say and they've said to us, we'll just release the interviews. So,
was our largest launch pad on Vandenberg. That's where we put all the really big rockets up. And I believe that's where SpaceX launches from now. So the transmission comes in, something to the effect like, be advised, we've got a weird light over the water to the west.
So what we could potentially have is a story like this being told to someone like Luna in a Congress hearing in a public setting. So it's like a podcast in Congress. That's what it's potentially going to be like. Which is more than what we got in the last few hearings, right?
Moving around. And my friend Brandon was the controller at the time.
Sir, your shape is incredible. How many times per week you visit the gym?
0. I'm just doing Tai Chi every day.
And, he's like, all right, roger that, be advised, everybody be on the lookout, keep an eye on it, keep us updated. And I'm like, okay, I better roll. So I grab my gear, I start getting ready to go. And then more transmissions come in, more frantic. And they're saying, hey, this object appears to be getting closer. It's moving very strangely, not at all like an aircraft. It's getting larger and brighter. And then just all hell broke loose. And the radio transmissions get very, frantic and garbled.
Didn't they say something about a witness? Forgive me for pausing it, but this is an engaging live. I want to speak to people as well. Didn't they say something about a witness that has to be subpoenaed? Who was it that said that? Kyle, I'll have a look. I did vaguely see something today about something about subpoenaed, but I was in work and busy. Maybe I missed something there. If you want to direct me, was it on X? If it was on X, I might have seen it and just missed it.
And I'm hearing yelling. They're saying, it's coming right at us. It's coming right for us. Oh, my God, it's right here. It's
Bigelow. Bigelow's being subpoenaed. That can't be right. Send me a link if you've got it via email or something. I'll open it up here.
Right on top of us. And by this point, I'm driving. I'm code 3, lights, the sirens going. I'm on this windy road. It's usually like a 15, maybe 25-minute drive there. I probably got there in like less than 10 minutes. And I've got my head out the window, and I'm looking for things, listening to the transmissions. And I remember distinctly a moment where they called in and they said it's shut off, it's gone. So there was like a lull. And I was hearing transmissions from other patrols and posts down on South Base. They're like, yeah, I've got vision.
UFOs around the world, 36 age. You 36, aren't you? No, I'm older than 36. I'm 72.
Visual, and I've lost visual, so it was really chaotic. So I get to the site, I get to the entry control point, and there's 5 people that are working there on duty. They're all together. I think they were all together when this happened because they had heard the patrol call and the weird lights. So everybody kind of congregated at the entry control point to watch what was going on. And I talked to everybody. I got written statements. And what happened was they, just like I said, they watched this thing.
1 minute, she was in the chat. Matthew, check the vid I sent you via WhatsApp. Right, give me a minute. Got to check a WhatsApp video. Okay. You want me to show this now? Like briefly on the live? Just a clip. So you give me permission that I can share it now?
Acting weirdly. They couldn't really see any details. Just this strange glowing light. Performing not like an aircraft. Moving erratically. And then they said it just zoomed in. And as it approached, the light went out. And then it just stopped and hovered at low altitude, very near the entry control point. And they said it was just so massive, it was hard to describe. At least 100 yards, but probably more because it was this black matte color. And they described it again as either like rectangular or possibly square. Absolutely no noise. And they were all together observing it.
Very mature. Hi, his name is Chara and he doesn't surf. He also asked me to say hello to chat, whatever that means. His name is Chara and he don't surf. Very funny, Ray. Behave. I don't know what to see. Is Ray trying to troll? Can you believe? And isn't Shiv on here? I'm bored. Good evening. Nice to see you leveling up your content on YouTube. Be the UK's biggest UFO content creator soon, foremost in research, etc. The almighty G-Skit. Thank you very much, mate. That's very kind, and I am trying. Very mature. Sorry, Cosmic. Ray, don't, Ray. I'm not the guy to troll. Especially if you got a name like Ray.
And then it just shot off like a cannon and vanished. And
what is the time frame compared to the red square to the dark square? I mean, could it be the same object that had its lights off or something?
It could be. It absolutely could be. The time frame, as long as the observational period, I believe the initial red square event, they did observe it for 10 minutes or more. I think it was there for a while. But this one happened very quick. This all unfolded within a few, minutes, and then they observed it for about 45 seconds, and then it...
You know your business better than anyone, right? So why not build an app to run it with Base 44? This finance
was gone.
But I mean, the red square happened when compared to the dark square?
The red square was 8:45 in the morning. This was around midnight or, so within the same...
Matt Tickey's paused. Oh shit! Yeah, sorry.
Squares over Vandenberg. I mean, non-aerodynamic. Do you think that they saw what they're calling?
Apologies, I just read a message and then left you on pause down there. I forgot all about you.
The matte black
you wanna,
square-ish
hopefully you might have just
UAP
used common sense to come over to YouTube.
Huge as well. Do you think that they saw that as a light when it was its propulsion was active and it was coming towards it? Like, when did it go from a light to a black matte square?
As it was approaching. So, they described it as it looked like it was getting bigger and the light was getting brighter as it came in. So it would kind of almost look like an aircraft on approach with like really bright approach lights on. But then as it got closer, the lights just went out.
Wow.
Was there also...
You have put some beef on. I have put a bit of weight on, yeah? Thank you for fat shaming me on my fucking live. You wonder why men end their lives.
A landing?
Yeah, in that same time period. We know that the landing occurred sometime between October 14th and October 31st because the direct eyewitness deployed to Iraq on Halloween night. And he's another close friend of mine. We worked together. I was his supervisor. And that particular night, he was on a security patrol located near the flight line, and him and his partner, same thing. They observe a strange, weird light over the Western Ocean. They know this was weird because the flight line at the time was...
I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I do have a lot of passion for this subject. I just don't have a lot of time. Even though I do videos all the time, I have no idea how I fit it in. I really don't. But I've got to get some content out there. And I try and keep it like relatively new stuff. I like to do some old stuff as well, but yeah, it is hard. It's getting even harder now. I'm getting into the YouTube world, so any like follows, notifications, just joining this live helps me so much and stuff like
that. Shut down.
And thank you to the members. I do appreciate the members that have joined so far.
No aircraft inbound or outbound, and as police, we know that we track aircraft coming in and where they're parked and things like that. So they knew the flight line was shut down and not active. All the runway lights were off. And they see a light, again, like just kind of out there over the ocean, very bright, kind of moving strangely. They observed it for some period of time. And eventually they called it in over the net. They're like, we got another weird light. It doesn't look like an aircraft. It's just kind of out there.
What do we think of this guy then? Is he just a storyteller or what? Is he telling us the truth? Thanks for the sub, Ray G. I agree about Shiv. Would love him to be here. But he is here. He's here. He's in my live, I think, on TikTok. I can go to Shiv whenever you want if you need him. I'll just message him. Only special people have my mobile number. Maybe membership. Maybe I should give my number to members of my YouTube members. Maybe that's something that would be interesting. So you got 24/7 contact with me now. I'm very good at getting back to people very quickly.
And this kind of unfolded very rapidly too. So it looked like it was getting closer, and it looked like it was dropping in altitude, and looked like it was an aircraft on approach. Now, we have incidents like that in the Air Force, and it's called an unannounced aircraft arrival. And it's one of the most serious security events we can have in the Air Force. You can't.
There's a lot of waffle. It is. If he's going to start talking like this, and it's going to piss me off, George needs to do his own thing. Let's see what else we've got here. This is where George Knapp originated from. Remember, this
Flying
is the first
saucers,
one.
Extraterrestrials, monsters.
Look at him
from
here.
outer space.
Looks like Jeremy Beadle. If you don't know who Jeremy Beadle is, in fact, I'll just ding it for you. Jeremy Beadle. Look at this guy here. It's George Knapp. Right? It's George Knapp. Watch out. George is about to.
Government has been telling us for years that they're not real. They're weather balloons or swamp gas or reflections from the sun or
That's a Billy
ravings
Meyer
of
one.
lunatics. But serious UFO researchers say a breakthrough may be very close. Some of the government scientists who worked on the top-secret project Blue Book are ready to talk. What's more, a series of revealing government documents have trickled out of the federal files, documents that paint a much different picture of the UFO phenomenon. One of the most dedicated UFO researchers lives right here in Las Vegas. His name is John Lear, and he is my guest today. Mr. Lear, thanks for being here.
Okay, George.
To begin with, you're a pilot, an airline pilot, captain. You have held...
This is where it all started, by the way, for him. 1987. You can see through the interview he's laughing in his face, sort of smiling like he doesn't believe him. Look at him now. He's going to Congress saying that, oh, this is true. We're potentially being harmed by aliens and stuff. When was this? So I was born 1986. This was 1987. So it's 40 years ago. 40 years ago nearly, man.
17 different world speed records at one time or another.
I'm
You're
39.
a member of the famous Lear family that all Nevadans
36,
are pretty much
39.
familiar with, a former state Senate candidate. You don't sound like the kind of guy who would
Gray's
get
in at the
hooked
minute.
up in something that a lot of people would say is a bunch of nonsense.
No, it's just by coincidence that I got really interested. This about 2 years ago. My father saw a UFO and my brother did, and they were very interested, but there was really no
Spiele jetzt War Thunder. Messe dich mit Millionen Spielern in massiven Schlachten auf Panzern.
proof, as far as I was concerned, to really look into it until about 2 years ago.
Your father and brother saw them. Can you give details?
My brother saw one. He was flying a P-38 from Phoenix to Los Angeles at night. It just appeared in front of him. He made two turns, 90-degree turns. It stayed in front of him and then disappeared. And my father was flying at night, I believe, over the Arizona desert and saw one too.
So you got an interest because of the other members of your family. How did you start out?
I had an interest, but there was really nothing I could put my finger on. And like I say, 2 years ago, a friend of mine came through town. We had flown in Southeast Asia together.
What are you thinking though, right? So for like maybe a weekly or fortnightly, maybe once a month show, where I get a list of guests up, one after another, with their own experiences, and do a live thing like that so people can comment. This would be on YouTube, by the way, not on TikTok. So it's just a YouTube thing, and it could be like people just coming on experience. I know there's people that's in this chat that's had experiences and stuff like that. I know Angela, if she's still here, she's got a fascinating story. We can reach out to people, just get people all around the world just to come and tell us their story and build like a collection on my YouTube channel of all these fascinating stories.
And he was retiring from the Air Force. He came over and we started talking about where he had been for the last 15 years. And he mentioned that he had been stationed at Bentwaters. And I said, oh, Bentwaters, that's where the flying saucer supposedly was in 1980. He said, no, John, not supposedly, it was. He said, I don't care if you believe.
Do you prefer me calling me high people? What would you rather me call you? Gimps? Freaks? Pervs? What do you want me to call you?
Believe me or not, it landed. I didn't see it because we were confined to quarters, but I know people who did, and I'll give you the names, and if you ever see them, tell them you know me, and they'll tell you the whole story. Since then, I ran into one of the security police who was within 10 feet of the saucer and actually saw...
Who likes John Lear, by the way? Who thinks that he's credible?
Go up to General Gordon Williams, who was the wing commander at that time.
Now, there was quite a bit of documentation regarding this Bentwater incident. Why don't you go into that a little bit?
There's the Colonel Halt memo that came out under the Freedom of Information Act, and it told about the mysterious lights and beaming down and everything that happened in the forest.
So we've got people saying pervs fine, people's fine. How about pervy people? Hello, pervy people.
And there was also the tape, Colonel Halt tape, forest tape.
Oh, gimps.
That he made over a period of 8 hours. And there's a 20-minute segment that we've been able to get a hold of that you can hear him running through the forest and being worried, saying the things after us.
Is there anybody that's come across this just on YouTube alone and not come over from TikTok? Let me know.
Now, why do you suppose that hasn't come out? I mean, this particular incident, why hasn't come out if so many people, and you've told me about this before, have seen it or seen these aliens? Why haven't some of them come forward?
A lot of them have come forward, but they're just not getting any press. It's something that people just don't want to deal with, the press doesn't want to deal with, and people aren't going to listen to something unless Dan Rather or any of your big press people are going to tell them about it. And they're just too spooked. The Air Force has made an art form of ridiculing people who have talked about this thing. They've done an excellent job of covering it up for the last 40 years. George, basically what we're dealing with here is, I'll give you the bottom line.
See his face, George, his face then.
I want to hear your thesis.
I'm not trying to sell a book, I'm not trying to promote a here is, I'll give
Watch, look.
George, basically what we're dealing with here is...
A little glance over to the camera line.
I'm not trying to sell it.
I want to hear your thesis.
I'm not trying to sell a book, I'm not trying to promote a lecture. This is based on what I've come across after intense research in the last year. And I have found out that the government has retrieved between 10 and 15 actual flying saucers, 3 of which have been in perfect condition, 1 of which they tried to fly. They have between 30 and 50 alien bodies in cryogenic storage. We even have the name of the person whose job it is to show these bodies to the heads of state and the people who are authorized to see them. They represent at least 5 different civilizations.
I can't imagine a Dan Rather or a Tom Brokaw, if that were to come to their attention, a story of that magnitude, that they wouldn't do something with it.
Well, I can't answer that question. I don't know why they don't do it. There certainly is enough evidence based on what I've looked at. For instance, the Linda Moulton Howe documentary in Denver for the CBS affiliate there called A Strange Harvest. Since 1975 to 1980, when she made the documentary, there's at least 9,000 cattle mutilations. Now, the government said that the mutilations were normal. Your desert predator did these, but they weren't. The mutilations, I
think we have a picture of these somewhere. Maybe we can see that as you're talking.
Well, that's
the next picture.
Whose channel is this, Matt?
Here we are. This is the mutilation. New Mexico State Police did the research on, or the investigation on it, and they cut out certain parts with and the cut was made with a laser beam far sharper than anything we have. As a matter of fact, they were able to determine that they cut between the cells and didn't cut the cells themselves. We presently don't have this kind of technology.
Well, if we don't know that we have this kind of technology, or you and I don't know that we don't, but that doesn't prove necessarily that it's ET.
No, except that there's usually a visual sighting of a flying saucer or a strange light at each one of these sightings.
Okay, you mentioned the saucers and the bodies. Now, what kind of proof do you have that is true? How do you know that?
Well, let me take a look. Let me read to you first what the Air Force says about the bodies.
Yeah, my name's Matt. Call me Matt, Matty, Matthew on a Sunday. Whatever you want to call me. I prefer Matty. I do like Matty. I suit Matty.
First of all, I'm going to read from the Introductory Space Science, Volume 2, Department of Physics, United States Air Force. This is Chapter 13, Unidentified Flying Objects. Now, this is what the Air Force has the students at the Air Force Academy read. And it says, the most commonly described alien is about 3.5 feet tall, has a round head, arms reaching to or below his knees, and is wearing a silvery spacesuit or coveralls. Other aliens appear to be essentially the same as Earthmen, while still others have particularly wide wrap-around eyes and mouths with very thin lips. And there is a rare group reported to be about 4 feet tall, weight of around 35 pounds, and covered with thick hair.
Yeah, I like Matty. It's cheeky, innit? Originally, I was called Leonard because my dad was a massive Star Trek fan, and he liked Spock. And on my wristband as a baby, it said Leonard. But in the bed next to my mum was a baby called Mark, Luke, and John. So for something to do with a religious thing or something, she called me Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. If it wasn't for that, or if my dad hadn't pissed off to the pub, I'd be called Leonard now. So I'd be a Lenny, not a Matty. But yeah, I think Matty's better. So yeah, thank you, what is it? The disciples.
For clothing. Members of this last group are described as being extremely strong. Now, I'm not making this up. This is an Air Force. You can pick out an Air Force physics book and read this stuff.
You
and
did hear me in the next space recently, yeah. Depends how recently, about a week ago. I very rarely go on there. My sense of humour, not a lot of people can handle my sense of humour. I've started to realise that quite recently, actually, that people just struggle with my sense of humour. But I can't change.
Chapter, they go on to say, this leads us to believe in the unpleasant possibility of alien visitors to our planet, or at least of alien-controlled UFOs. Now, the picture that we have of the big head that the Air Force describes, this picture was drawn by an Army surgeon. These are one of the bodies that was recovered in the famous...
Is that Shiv? That's Shiv? Let's see if Shiv's in the chat. Let's fish him. This is how you go fishing, people. This definitely looks like Shiv. If you look at Shiv and then look at this head, that's Shiv. UFO Shiv.
This Roswell incident of 1947.
Tell us about that.
It was the first flying saucer that crashed and was recovered by the Army. It was covered up. There has been several books about it. They recovered 4 beams, and one of the surgeons that was...
Why would you like me to go more spaces? Give me a reason.
Responsible for the autopsy drew that picture and came up with some of these interesting things in the autopsy. I'll just read a couple. 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall, 2 round eyes without pupils, no earlobes, nose is vague, neck described as being thin.
When I first started Eve, I was a minor.
Don't ever change
and I was
shit.
really tired of...
Arms are just...
Sometimes you can go a bit far. Sometimes, to be honest, I think everybody can just accept it. That's what my humour. I think everybody can accept my humour. The thing, and generally they do. But sometimes I think it's like, oh. Sometimes I think, yeah, maybe I went too far there and stuff like that. And I do apologise.
Described long and thin, reaching down to the knee section. You can see that there's a webbed portion in the hands. No teeth, no apparent reproductive organs. Brain capacity unknown, colorless liquid prevalent in the body without red cells, no lymphocytes. And there's more in that particular report.
This is an autopsy report. Now, you said the government goes to great lengths, the Air Force in particular, to discredit this kind of stuff. Where did this come from? How did you get this?
That came in a private, that came from the private collection of Leonard Stringfield, who was one of the premier researchers. He worked for the Air Force in the early 50s. In a secret project reporting UFOs. Then as a civilian, he continued his private research.
I wouldn't put myself as an intelligent person. I'd put myself as passionate and knowledgeable on this topic. I wouldn't say I'm intelligent. intelligent in some ways, but not always. Like, I'm quite childish as well at times. But I think I'm more intelligent in humour. My humour's really good. I think I can make a joke out of anything, or make someone laugh. If someone's really miserable, I can make them laugh usually very quickly with a message or a voice note or whatever. But yeah, I'm knowledgeable. I wouldn't say I'm intelligent. I don't know. Knowledgeable.
And this is out of his collection.
Why does the government want to hide this? Why doesn't the Air Force just come forward? Why doesn't, why don't they...
Sorry, I can't see any resemblance to Shiv in that drawing.
...level with us if this is all true?
Well, there's not really much they could say based on what I've been able to find out. George, they're really, what could they say about it? They've been researching it for many, many years, and based on my information, let's say that the president decided to make an announcement.
Yeah, do you know, because you know what it is? They repeat the same stuff over and over again, these people in X Spaces. They're knowledgeable on a certain area of the topic, and I see this on TikTok as well. And then every single live, they'll talk about that same thing because they're knowledgeable on it. They don't have like a blanket covering the entire topic. So if someone wants to speak to me about alien greys, I'll speak to them about alien greys. If they want to speak to me about reptilians, I'll speak to them about reptilians. If they want to speak to me about orbs, I'll speak to them about orbs. If they want to speak to me about the trafficking of the children or these underground bases and all that, I can speak to them about. I can hold my own on any area of the topic, and I'll be honest in a topic, in a conversation, and I'll say, I don't know much about it, but speak about it, because I might still be able to have a conversation on it and stuff like that. Because what you'll find is sometimes if you're not really knowledgeable on it, some of the stuff you've learned on things still can be brought into the conversation and can potentially help them find an answer to something. So yeah, there is that.
This is, if he made it today, this is what I think that he would say. My fellow Americans, I come...
Thank you, DJ Spider, for that link for the OBS guests. I will check that out and hopefully I'll get it sorted before next Tuesday. I'll probably test it Sunday, actually. So if anybody wants to come up and join me for the Sunday roast and stuff like that, DM me or WhatsApp me if you've got my number, and we'll get it sorted.
To you before you tonight with an announcement of great importance. Despite all our denials, flying saucers do in fact exist. Where they come from, we do not know. Who is in them, we do not know. Where they are from, we do not know, nor do we know how they got here or what they want. We are unable to duplicate any of the metals found on the several craft we have recovered, nor are we able to figure out how they are propelled. We have hidden these facts from you over the past 40 years in hopes that we could give you more answers. Unfortunately, we are no closer to answers today than we were 40 years ago. God bless you all.
In other words, you find it highly unlikely that the president would ever make a statement, anything like that?
No, it's just, it's too big. It's the problem is not only just the fact that there are five and as many as 10 different civilizations visiting us. Apparently, and this is from the research that I've done, at least 90% of them are hostile. And when I say hostile, if not hostile, they have a completely different set of morals than we do.
Okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to the president and aliens, because there have been some statements made by presidents, including President Reagan. We'll be right back.
What if you could taste the movies?
Be careful with that music, because someone will copyright that shit. They'll be like, oh, you put a bit of copyright in there.
An $11.3 million business with Wix. One movie night, we were craving this chocolate cake.
But can we come up with a mutual time? 100%, yeah, absolutely not. No. Why would we come up with a mutual time? It's my show. No. It's probably between 6 and 8 p.m. That's the only thing I'll do on it.
To and including President Reagan, I'm not sure to the extent they are informed. Privately, I don't believe they are giving the full briefing. The people that control this information is a organization that we know of as MJ-12, and they're a top group of military and scientists. And I do know that when the president becomes president, it takes at least 3 or 4 months before he actually gets the clearance to know everything there is. Now, that doesn't mean they...
Yeah, it's like that thing where he goes, it's going to get weirder and weirder until people are going to start talking about it and thinking, what the hell is going on? Can't remember the guy that was, what was that guy called that said that?
Helen, but it does take 3 or 4 months to get... Now, talking to the president, let's talk about what the president has actually said. Has he mentioned anything about aliens?
President Reagan?
President Reagan, on December 4th, 1985, this is a copy of the speech from the White House, just before he went over to Iceland. He says, I couldn't but, one point in our discussions privately with Secretary General Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in this world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there were...
Oh, if you want to host a space, when I host a space, I'll just host a space, and I'll put the camera on as well. I like to put the camera on and talk. Why is it always, why do people, there's an option there to put your camera on. Why do people not use it? It winds me up. Just put your camera on and talk. It's because of shitbags.
Was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet outside in the universe. We'd forget all our local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human.
Polarities beginning. No, yeah, it's in Polarities. Introduction, you're right there, yeah. But I mean the name of it, like Polarity didn't make that. Polarity edited the audio into his video, which was very, very smartly done, by the way. But the actual person that said it, I can't remember the name of it. I'm guessing he might have done a video on it because he's probably a fan of that person.
Beings here on this earth together.
He couldn't be just making a supposition for purpose of making a point. You're saying he's trying to tell us something.
Well, here, 1 week ago at the 42nd General Assembly in front of the UN, September 21st, he says, in our obsession with the antagonism of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside, universal...
And we won't let Tupacabra in. Oh, do you not like Tupacabra? Tupacabra wouldn't interrupt me in a live. If I'm hosting a live, Tupacabra would be quite respectful, I think. I don't think he'd do anything out of thing. I've joined his lives. When he hosts a live, then he's probably a bit dominant, but I don't think he'd come in mine and try and be dominant or anything like that. In fact, he's joined one of mine in the past and stuff like that, and he's been absolutely fine. So I don't know, maybe it's just people, some people don't like him, some people do. I think he's alright. I don't know the guy personally, I only know him offline and from X. But he's never given me any shit. In fact, I've asked to help push his TikTok channel. He messaged me the other day with his TikTok channel. I said, I'll promote it for you so we can get him on lives on TikTok. Said the same for Red Panda Koala. I've said the same for Patrick Jackson. I've said the same for Ashton Forbes. I've said the same for King of UFOs. I've helped so many people. In fact, I've helped so many people. Like, sometimes you just got to give yourself a little pat on the back and say, well done, you'll help people. And I ask for nothing. Just £100 off every single person. That's it.
Threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish.
I don't suffer with your sense of humour. You're just like my son who turns my frown upside down. My mum sliced her hand open today. Check this out. She sent me a picture today. Breaking news, this. UFOs around the world's mum is a daft fuck. Check this, man. This is horrible. Look at that. It's bad, that. So I put, right? I put, ouch. Wait, what the fuck is that? And she's put, cut it on Gorilla Glass. Off screen protector. Don't know how. And I put, what the fuck is Gorilla Glass? Screen protector for my phone. Not done it at work, was at home. So how and I've looked at Gorilla Glass. It's not even sharp, apparently. How the hell she sliced... Lucky one a wrist. Beautiful art. Are you taking the piss? I would drop kick you out of social media forever if you take the piss out of my mum. My mum is beautiful. As Andy Satoni said to Bobby Lee, unlike your cross-eyed mother. Aye, I'm Ray Mum. What's she do on Gorilla Glass, apparently? Ouch. Penis envy magic mushrooms. Terrence found in Amazon. Penis envy magic mushrooms. It is.
If we were facing an alien threat from outside this world, and yet I ask you, is not an alien force not already among us? Now, this is right out of a White House speech. I'm not making this up.
What did he mean by this alien force? I mean, does it say? Does he go
Yeah.
on to say something?
Yeah, he says, what could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our people than war and the threat of war?
I see.
But the point is, why would he even bring up aliens? I mean, it's pretty far out for the President of the United States to be mentioned threats from outer space.
Okay, what about President Carter?
President Carter, we have the quote from Carter when...
I once dated a cross-eyed girl, had to break up with her. She was seeing someone on the side. You're that cross-eyed when you cry, your tears roll down your back.
He was during his election campaign. If I become president, I'll make every piece of information this country has about UFO sightings available to the public and the scientists. I am convinced that UFOs exist because I have seen one.
Jimmy Carter says he saw one.
That's Jimmy Carter. He saw one in
So,
1973.
but he didn't tell us, did he?
He doesn't. The pressure is enormous on these people to cover this stuff up.
So I have a hot take. AI is not just a buzzword if you use Monday CRM.
I'm so glad.
How can that be? Are they afraid of a panic? That people would panic?
There's the panic problem, and there's also the problem that, in fact, in Cro-Magnon man, there may have been some tinkering to make us what we are today. And that's been borne out by several researchers. We couldn't have developed exactly the missing link.
5 years of reporting. Journalist George Knapp has been called the UFO reporter.
I'm going to go off in a minute anyway, so this was just an update of who the live Congress, the breaking news of who the Congress people were, which was George Knapp, Jeffrey Nuccatelli, Chief Alexandra Wiggins, and Dylan Borland. I don't know much about Dylan Borland. I'll try and get a video up over the next couple of days on all of the whistleblowers and the stories. And on Sunday we'll try and do a live and get a few guests up to test that out. And on Tuesday at 2 PM I'll go live an hour before the hearing, make sure it's all working fine, get everybody in, and we can have a chat about it and talk about it. Wow, President Carter said that. President Carter, yeah. It was the Jimmy Carter. And I've also reached out to Laura Eisenhower as well, to speak to Laura on her Instagram. She's not ready yet, but she's always out around the world. I really want to chat to Laura. If anybody's a contact to Laura, reach out to her for me. Right, is there anything you want to chat about before I go? Anything you'd like me to cover over the next couple of days? I might go live on TikTok for half an hour when I come off this stream. Well, President Carter said that. Cro-Magnon, no one ever mentions the Denisovans of a human species. I watched a documentary on the Denisovans, yeah. I don't think we were just evolutionary. We're not through natural evolution. Something's been tampering with us. The evidence is there, I think. And archaeology, things could be planted. Things could 100% be planted. But yeah, I am going to have to go. I'm going to go live on TikTok for half an hour, I think, and apologise to them for not just cutting them off. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you too, Cosmic. And thank you to everyone that's been in chatting away. Thank you again to the members. I do appreciate the memberships. And membership content will be coming. Don't worry, just give me time. Your support will not go unnoticed. And hopefully treats will come your way. It's just a matter of bearing with me, Any other questions? Evidence is there. I have UFO Shane's number if you want that. UFO Shane's number. You can stick that up your ass. Why would I want UFO Shane's number? Remind me who UFO Shane is. Is that the walrus guy off X? Thanks for sharing that. No, it's fine. Make sure you come and watch on Tuesday, and we'll have a proper live. Cups of tea. wherever you are in the world. If it's in the morning, a breakfast. If it's in night time, bring a beer, let's chill out. It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so I could have a cup of tea or a beer at that time. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what gets disclosed. Have a good day, Matty. I'll have a good day, mate. You too. No, you're really generous with your time on helping others to promote themselves. Do you know, I don't see it. People say that a lot to me. I don't see it. Maybe I am quite generous with my time. I don't know. I don't see it and I don't think of it that way, but I do appreciate it. Oh, geez, that a bad one. Your poor wee mum. I know, my mum. It could be worse, though, because Ray's mum's cross-eyed. UFO Shane is Walrus guy. Just a joke. Yeah, no, don't want his number. You can give me his number if you want, and I'll just send him like a cockpit or something like that. Yes, keep on keeping on. All the best, Matt. Thanks for live. Cosmic and Cow are laughing. You're always laughing. I'm sure you're stoned half the time. So yeah, if you want to listen to me some more, I'll probably go live in a minute on TikTok. I'll just give them a bit of an update and a bit of a rundown, and a bollocking for not coming over to YouTube. So as always, good night. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one. How do I end this? That's how I do it. It says stop streaming.